So I got a running gimmick on here where I left the spawn area, which I've called the Manosphere. The joke's pretty funny because every week some weirdo over there does some weird stuff and gets into weirdo trouble, and eventually you just get tired of looking around and seeing all these weirdos. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about the absolute singularly most important thing that helps you, though you were probably too young to notice. It never gave you any feedback, and you never know you're done until you're actually looking back and realize you finished a while back. It's called compounding, and it's the greatest thing you've never heard of that solves everything. Turns out, life isn't like a video game. Progress isn't incremental. It's not linear. It's not progressive. In fact, there's few feedbacks in the world to see if you're doing things right or you're doing things wrong, until there is. So plenty of guys go their whole lives thinking they're doing just fine, and then one day a big something happens. You get a divorce, you get laid off. Sometimes it's just as simple as looking in the mirror one time and realizing that you're 30 and you live like you still did when you were 20. You've made zero progress and you didn't notice until it's almost too late. Well, compounding is how guys get past that. For example, a little story here for you. When I was in the military, I took time to grab myself a second degree for the eventuality that I'd leave the military and join the corporate world. My friends, they got a bit mad. I mean, I wasn't around much when we went out to the bars, go to events, do some traveling, do some camping. It's no big deal. We all earned the same money. We all worked the same job. We all worked the same hours. So from the outside perspective, it looks like our lives were all the same. A few years pass and I leave the military. A few of my friends actually did too. But a few others realized they weren't ready to leave. They didn't have the ability to work outside the military. And now, the gap between me and them got a little bit bigger. And that's all it took. That little bit of work over a long period of time, compounding. Then I started to work in corporate. I earned a lot more money than I had earned in the military. And I had some new coworkers. After work, I'd write a little for a book that I wanted to write. I bought a camera. I learned how to make videos. I learned how to speak into a microphone. I still earned the same money that they learned. Our lives looked identical. Eventually, after a couple years, there was a round of layoffs and we all got laid off. Now, I had a book almost finished and a YouTube channel doing okay for itself. And all of a sudden, that gap started to look a little bigger still. They moved on to new jobs and they did just fine, but all of a sudden now I had all this time to myself and I was still earning pretty good money. My military buddies back in the day, they didn't even know I had written a book. They didn't know I'd went into business for myself. They didn't even know how I got from there to here. To them, I may as well have told them I had went to the moon. And these aren't stupid guys. These are smart guys. These are hardworking guys. These are successful guys. They got families and that. But again, the one difference, compounding, can make a life where you don't mind it into a life where you love it. And the thing about compounding, there's no feedback. You kind of almost have to take it on faith. Speaking into a microphone doesn't make money. Making a video doesn't make money. Learning to write doesn't make money. Taking tests, studying for exams, building business plans, none of it makes any money. There's no feedback mechanism. In fact, the only realization that you can take a talent stack, which is a bunch of different skills that only you have in that particular combination, and eventually turn it into that living. So you do little bits of work every day. Every day. Every day. Sometimes a little, sometimes a lot. Sometimes you have to give up those moments where you're at the bar with your friends, or having the happy hour after work, or going to the movies, or doing a traveling trip, camping, whatever. Sometimes your girlfriend's gonna yell because she wants to spend more time together doing nothing on the sofa. Sometimes you miss out on the things you really want to do. Sometimes, though, you just go and have fun because there's no point to working all day just to work all day. But you make sure you do at least a little before you go. And then, one day, eventually, you look around and realize you've built something. It's done. It's finished. It looks pretty good too. And you can sit back and take what you built and just fly. So there you have it, fellas. Compounding. And I know it's funny. I'm just sitting here playing electronic Legos, and it's goofy, and everybody will tell you it's a waste of time, and they're not wrong. It can be a waste of time, but to me, it's kind of a little more than that. You know, it's me here telling stories, playing this, but it's kind of more than that because this is the culmination of every time I didn't go out to the water wheel with my friends in Victoria, BC when we were in between sails. It's that time that in a foreign port, I never spent enough time partying at wherever they were partying at because I was busy because I had a test that I had to do remotely and call in from Abu Dhabi or something like that, or missed out on some adventure. I mean, I went out to a bunch of them. I did a lot of things that I talk about in the book. A lot of them I didn't talk about, but I mean, that's just... You can only write so many things down at one time, right? And a lot of those things were, well, I guess R-rated would be the polite way of saying it. But yeah, so to me, this is all of those things that I missed. This is all of those times that everybody got mad that I wasn't there. All those times that I wasn't wasting my time and grinding a little something that didn't have any payoff, not right away. Until eventually, I kind of took a look around, and just like that road, I realized, wow, I'm actually at some place I want to be. That's kind of nice. And I guess the one thing I'll leave you with on this is you got to learn to both enjoy what you've done and not be happy with it, if that makes sense. For example, I could just sit here and make videos on this channel or on my other channel, maybe write another book and be perfectly happy with it. And I probably will for a couple years. But eventually it's going to be something else. Maybe I'll have an itch to do a different type of thing. Maybe I don't know, make music, or instead of writing books, do a screenplay, or instead of writing or doing screenplays at all, maybe it doesn't even matter. But when that itch comes and I think there's something new that I can do, I'll make the effort to start learning that and do a little bit of it every day while I continue to plod along and get all these things done to keep these guys out of my brand new end city, to making sure the villagers have a nice little trading hall, but still set aside a little time to work on that new thing, because then, when all of this goes away, because nothing lasts forever, I'll be somewhere different. And it's the one thing that I've noticed in my life is that every 5 years, if you were to go back in time 5 years and tell me where I would be 5 years later, that guy would think you're an idiot. Because he would completely not understand how it's even possible to get there. So hey, I like that I can make a life that even I wouldn't believe what I'm doing. So enjoy yourselves. Hope you learned a little something from this. Hope you had a little bit of fun. God knows I'm having fun. And don't forget, It's not about the big wins. It's not about the feedback loops. It's about a little bit of work every day towards something that you want to do. And eventually, if you work smart, if you work hard, and if your goals are realistic, you can get there too. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.